Hello everyone, I'm Achadino here, and as always, beginning the video, this is one of the first WoW videos that I'm doing, and it's going to be guidelines, let's say, of APL improvements that I have for the Dust build. Right now, I have a clip that I'm going to show you, and these are the talents for that clip, but there's also a single target one, that it will be this one, that we will talk about later. So first of all, why would this build be decent next patch? Because of the way the new tier set works. But right now I'm going to focus on what we can do with the current things that we have. What does it mean? Our current tier set is this. When we use the finisher Eviscerate or Black Powder, our next backstab, Shadow Strike or Shuriken Storm get extra critical strike and critical strike damage. And then when we use those builders and crit, the damage of our finishers, Eviscerate and Rupture, get increased. You can see here by 12% and Black Powder by 8%. Those are the current things that we get. And then for the next tier set, let me check 1 second. You can see it here, but I'm just going to tell you what it does. The first one makes our symbols of death proc instantly when we dance for 6 seconds. It was 10, but it got nerfed. And then it also increases the duration of the current rupture on all targets by 4 seconds. This is the important one. The next one increases the critical strike damage of Eviscerate and Black Powder by 40%. It was 10, then 25, and now it's 40% by a hotfix that they did just yesterday. It was announced, and it's going to be put inside the game when the raid opens on, this case I'm from EU, May 10th. May 9th in that case for NA. Why would this build be good? Right now, as you can see, we are going to play Invigorating Shadowdust. That reduces all our cooldowns by 30 seconds when we use Vanish. We use, of course, double Vanish. And then these talents here are usually not played in the normal build, that it's this one. Here you can see the normal build that we will run, for example, in Razageth, where we use Black Powder instead of First Dance. This is the build that me and many other players killed Razageth with, and it was fine. Some people used Staccato and other people use improved shadow techniques, but that's something else. As for this build here, it makes it able to use these cooldowns called Flagellation, Shadow Blades, and Sepsis that have synergy between them every minute. And then of course we have the Rotten. It's every time we use symbols of death, we get full combo points essentially, because it's 4 extra. And then you usually get 1 and you will have blades. And in the dances that you don't have blades, anyway, it will cap out at the threshold that we use to finish inside dance, that it's more than 5 combo points. And the new tier set, the 2-piece, procs this one, the Rotten. We also have to be careful to not clip it, but that's a little bug, maybe it gets fixed. Right now we have to keep in mind that it may not get fixed, so we have to play around it. That means that you can't use symbols of death just while the one from dance is up, unless it only has 2 or 3 seconds left. That we'll do anyway, because in the single target build we would use symbols of death in the last builder that we will use in dance. That will be a backstab, because we have perforated veins, and backstab with perforated veins does more damage than Shadow Strike, and it caps points anyway. And then we use another Eviscerate. In the dungeon build it's not possible, but in the one in single target it is possible because we have 1 second more of dance. Now, as you can see, the build is a little bit contrived because we can't spec Gloomblade because of Tornado. Now, before I talk more about the build, let me show you a clip about how it works, more or less. I'm not going to use it right now because I could make a mistake and it doesn't show good to me. So now let's go 1 second. And here we have it. Now let's go. And I'm going to be pausing the clip when I use the things. So first, we will go, of course, in stealth. And then we will shadow strike. And this shadow strike it's without blades, and because we play with subterfuge, sorry, we have 2 more seconds to use abilities. I'm going to use slice and dice because of something that you will see later, but the next one you can see also have 1 stack of punctured veins. Then you saw I procced shadow techniques. That makes it a 38-second duration slice and dice, and it's fine. It also can proc with only 3 points. Then we do a strike because it's the other. These 3 abilities are the ones that we use in subterfuge, and then hit where it was. People are not used to it because this is like special to builds with sepsis flagellation. We use sepsis. That will give us 2 combo points because we are using blades with sepsis in the same global. And those blades make it so we get to full combo points, because if it doesn't proc right now, it's going to proc a little bit later when we use flagellation. Then flagellation works as in every time you use a finisher while flagellation is active, you get a mastery buff. See, right now we have the initial application of flagellation and 7 combo points used, so we get 8 stacks of flagellation. Now we get 1 combo point from our shadow techniques, and this is important also because we use rupture. Why did we use rupture? Because right now we don't have find weakness. That's really important for our damage because eviscerate will not be doing 40% extra damage as shadow. So that's why you can gamble here and use a backstab. It also would do more damage because it has punctured veins, but you run the risk of not critting and then not having find weakness, and we can't really afford to not use dance in the next global, so I'm going to use Shuriken Storm because with the talent Silent Storm that gives us extra critical chance, we are going to do a critical strike, and this will enable our 4-piece set, making the eviscerate that we'll use when we enter dance do more damage. See, we used dance, symbols. With the 2-piece from the next tier set, we will not use symbols because it will clip. We will use it on pull. And then right now, I didn't use T, right? Because I wanted to use it a little bit later, but you can use T because it's full right now. And it's not a loss to use it everything together. I will use it on the next finisher. See? I was too late. You want to use this T with this eviscerate, then we use a backstab, and this consumes the rotten buff that we have and 1 stack of the puncture veins that we have right now. Of course, because we used a finisher, we got 7 combo points more here on flagellation. Now it's full again because we used the rotten and we had blades. And then we are going to use on the second finisher secret technique that is going to be with cold blood, and it will do a 100% chance to crit. As you can see here, the crit is not crazy because we are not running all the shadow damage increases, but we have blade sticking with sepsis and all the other things that are also doing damage. And then we will end dance with an eviscerate and then a final shadow strike. Then sepsis pops and we get a free use of shadow strike again. So that's why we use a shadow strike, we eviscerate, and then with the free strike from sepsis we use another strike. This one crit, and I also got 1 combo point from shadow techniques, so it's full, but this can go from 4 to full. And then I'm going to use tornado, but that's only because this is the dungeon build. Then of course we use all our combo points. Then I banish and strike, then eviscerate, strike, and I dance here. Shuriken Tornado has ended, and right now we are dancing, and again we use Symbols of Death, but we will not use it on the normal build with the new tier set. And of course the first finisher would be an eviscerate, and I didn't talk about this before, but this enables our 2-piece from this current tier set, where we get extra critical chance and critical strike damage on, in this case, it will be a backstab that will be powered. Right now I'm hitting the dummy from the front, and because this is backstab I'm doing less damage. But on the single target wield it doesn't matter, and you use Bloomblade anyway. And after this backstab, we are going to, you can see here, we use, in that case, an eviscerate, because we had 1 second left on secret technique. We are not running Dance Macabre, so it doesn't matter if you use at the second or third finisher. You can even use it at the first one, but it doesn't matter that much. And now we have the last one, and of course secret technique hits, and then this will be the end of the dance. And we use an eviscerate and then backstab. It will be the end. Of course, if you use secret technique as the first, in that case, finisher on the first dance, it's easier. I can try and do it again, but let's talk right now about the other build, the single target one. I'm going to put an Excel with way more explanations and things, because this is like guidelines and only for people to see how it is, more or less. The Excel will have all the good explanations, because right now if I explain it, I'm not that good explaining. So this one, you don't have tornado, but you want at least 1 or 2 seconds before you dance again, so that cold blood can work correctly, and it will be the same thing. And why I am using slice and dice instead of rupture on the first one is because if you don't use slice and dice, it's going to run out before you strike on dance. Like, let me show you what would happen if you didn't slice and dice there. Like, you would begin. And see here, now I already used rupture, and then I have slice and dice, and if I dance, it's just going to not be able to have it. And of course, you also don't have find weakness. So that is why you want to slice and dice, and then you rupture. Like I talked before, with the single target build, you would use, after the first dance, one backstab and then finish, and then one backstab and enter dance, and it will be the same. Secret technique and cold blood would be on a 4-second cooldown or 3-second, depending on how you used the cooldown in the first dance, and then that will make you able to get 2 of them. Now, for dances outside of the opener, so let's say that you have been doing things and you have, of course, you have ruptures and slice and dice, and of course you're doing a normal rotation, let's say, and then you have to enter dance again, and you have sepsis, flagellation, shadow blades, and everything. So you will build here until 4 or 5, and then you will do the same. You will also have, of course, this, but it won't change that much. See, but you can lose the find weakness, so that will be a reason to use Shuriken Storm, or in case that you can use backstab or Bloom Blade in this case, and you get it for free. That will be more or less. I'm going to explain way better on the Excel, but so that you can see how everything works and the little things that we can do. And then, as you can see there, I use Sepsis Blades, and then Flagellation, and we use a finisher, and then we use one strike and then enter dance. Why did we use that strike? Because we want to get one stack of puncture veins, like PV in short. So you get here find weakness, and you have everything, and then here you will use see, you have to be very careful on find weakness because you can lose it super easily. See, and you can do mistakes like using Gloom Blade or everything like that when you can't. So the most important thing is to keep find weakness when you are doing all the combos, but keep in mind that the rotten always make it so that you get the find weakness, the rotten, and in case with Silent Storm you also get a 100% chance here. So that is when you finish the first dance, you want to use a storm there. Right now I'm not going to use the vanish, but it's just so that you can see it. Let's say everything is okay right now. From here, see, you get find weakness here, and then here we will do this, and then See, I made a mistake there. You need the one stab. So it's like everything like that, and try not to make mistakes. Know how much combo points you get, and that will be everything that you would do on the single target one too. Of course, big disclaimer, when it gets to 4 or 5 minutes, you run out of banish charges. And then the build loses a lot of DPS. That's why it's really unlikely that it's going to be played a lot, at least in raid or single target, unless there is some downtime and you can get the banished charges back to do damage again. That will be all right now, and see you all.